I'm gonna tell this story in hopes that it will help somebody. Um, sure help me, and I hope that you know no other young men or old men, because my cousin is not even that young. He's actually past his 40s, but nevertheless, that they go through this. And so my cousin caught a body, um, and he probably would never come home, right? And the reason why he caught a body was it was over a woman. Now, mind you, me and my cousin was going through the exact same thing at the exact same time, right? We dealt with the things different. And this channel was about semen retention and many other things, but basically about semen retention. And semen retention was one of the reasons why the same exact thing didn't happen to me. Okay, so anyways, let's get into the story. So about 5 years ago, I was going through a divorce. My cousin was going through a divorce. Very dark time. Very hard stuff. One of the hardest things I ever went through. I had suicidal thoughts. I wanted to do stuff to her. You name it, But I chose to do something a little different than what I always do. I chose to accept my L. I chose to not touch her, not try to rumble with anybody she was dealing with. I chose to count my costs, walk away, and start to build my life up. And another thing, because of semen retention, only because of semen retention, I did not jump immediately back into a relationship, which I've been in relationships since I was 13. There hasn't been a single time longer than maybe 1 or 2 months where I wasn't in a relationship, right? That just wasn't the case. I've always been in a relationship. Well, my cousin, obviously, following the traditional blueprint formula that we've had, he ended up getting right back into the game. You know what I'm saying? Calisthenics and SR helped me not to get back in the game like that. So anyways, my cousin started dealing with this girl who he knew since we was kids, but she had moved to the deep south and she just moved back, got her little place. And so she moved back to our hometown. And so they started kicking it. They chilling, kicking it, doing their little 1-2. It might be hollow in here. I'm at work. I'm walking up the stairs. But anyways, they start to do their little 1-2. They start to kick it. And, that's what it was. Now, apparently she was dealing with another guy who she was still kind of dealing with, but was slowly cutting him off as she was dealing with my cousin, right? Obviously, this guy was not going for that. And so one night, my cousin and the girl was at her house, doing what they do. And the guy climbed in the window while they were in the house and started putting hands on my cousin, and they got into a rumble in the house. And it was a whole big fight. Okay, and so from that moment on, it was on. They had a fight, and yeah, that was that. And so instead of my cousin stopping to stop dealing with this girl, which a lot of people was telling him to do, he continued to deal with her. Okay, and so anyways, fast forward, one day my cousin was going to a store with this girl, right? They were out going to buy some food, and the guy and a couple of his friends happened to see them together. And so as they were going to the store, the guy seen them when they was parking, and he hopped out the car and he got to, doing what he do. My cousin put out his, whatever, and he ended up hitting the guy a bunch of times and one of his homies. Now, one of his homies survived. One of them got shot, but the guy died, right? And now my cousin is, he ain't coming home, right? And she's with another guy, probably by this point, because that was years ago. That guy's dead. My cousin is gone, locked up. And this happens. And how does this apply to me? Because I was going through the same exact thing. I met a young lady who was my type, very attractive. And I was dealing with her. We met on social media, Facebook. And so we started kicking it. We started doing what we do. At this time, I was living in an RV. I had not got my first apartment yet. So I would go, to her place. And she wanted me to move in. I kept telling her no, which I'm grateful that I didn't do that. And I didn't know, but she was on a break, right, from her original dude, right? And her original dude popped back up into the picture, right? And he was not feeling the situation. He had some things to say to me in my DM, right? And I cut the situation off immediately right there. Now, mind you, I was dealing with this girl. I was very attracted to this girl. I really wanted to get it in with this girl a lot of times, a lot of nights. I remembered the times that we did what we did, and it wasn't just physical. It was emotional, spiritually. Our energy definitely matched, right? And she would sometimes DM me until I got off Facebook for good, and she would even call me, right? But I never went and got it in with her again because I knew the chances I was making. I do martial arts. I'm very scary. I don't know what if this guy is gonna walk in here. I ain't got no pipe, so he walk in here. I might put my hands on him, win, lose, or draw, whatever. He ain't going. You get what I'm saying? So I completely opted out of the situation, and it was hard. It was hard. She would send me pics and all that stuff, and like, well, let's just be toxic, and whatever, and I wanted to because I really liked it her. You know what I'm saying? And I really wanted to think with my penis. I really wanted to go. Right? And I didn't have the example of what happened with my cousin until way really later because these things was happening simultaneously. But what I did have an example was when she would reach out at various times and I would get weak and maybe respond. I did have that example of my cousin, like, don't do it. Don't go over there. Don't go get with her because, yeah, she's her own person, but you playing with fire. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what people are capable of doing. Now, no woman is ever truly single. We know that. But you got to know what you're dealing with. So I say all this to say this to young men. Consider semen retention. Consider chilling on social media a little bit. There's a couple lessons that I got from that. But also, remember, when you crash out, put your hands on that girl. When you crash out and put your hands on dude, it's 2026. Dudes ain't taking no whoopings, bro. So you might just be putting your life in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Remember, if that's that another man, no female really truly belongs to anybody, but you get the gist. In the mindset of the person, they do. And so just remember that you might be jeopardizing your future. And you might have to sit around a bunch of grown men for the rest of your life or for years. Why? Shorty out here getting her back blew out by whoever she pleases. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have my own place. I didn't have, a job that I had a job, but I'm saying like a job where I like this, okay, like if I leave this city, I'm gonna be doing this job because this is a skill that I do. Like this is something I do. Right? Like if I would have just moved in with her, I wouldn't have had no choice but to rumble with this dude. Because I know he would have been coming to the house based on what she was telling me. Right? And I would have messed up my whole situation. My situation ain't much. It ain't much. But it's something. Your situation may not be much. Or your situation may be a lot. Don't risk it. That's all I got to say. Peace.